Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So there's a saying that I like. It's learn to rest, not give up. Now, I've been told this, the first time I was told it was in the gym by personal trainers because I was weak and I would give up easy and that would be it for me. I could go to the gym, work out for 15 minutes and be like, well, I guess I did it. I'm tired and I'm gone. There we go. I'm out of here. And you're really just giving up on yourself. You don't move forward with your personal development, with your growth, with getting bigger, stronger. You don't move forward with that if you give up too easy. And it's such a great lesson in life. There's so many lessons that you can learn from exercise and apply them to your life, and that's one of them. It's to learn to rest and not to give up. So Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was such an incredible bodybuilder. Forget about his politics, forget about his acting, just think about him as a bodybuilder. He was amazing. His body was amazing. A lot of people wish they could do that. Now, I'm not going to get into a conversation about steroids or anything, but regardless of whatever supplements or additional help he had with human growth hormones or anything like that, that motherfucker worked out hard. There's documentaries, what was the famous one that he did? I forget what it's called. It's a great little movie about him in his early days working out. And he talks about reps till failure. So what does that mean? It means that each rep you do, you may have 8 or 10 reps in a set. You may do 3 or 4 or 5 sets or more. But with each rep, say if you're doing 10 reps and you still have some in you, you feel like you could do 5 more. A lot of people give up because they have that number 10 in their mind. I was supposed to do 10. I did 10. I did the minimum that was required of me. And now I'm done. Arnold Schwarzenegger worked out to failure. He did reps to failure, which means, say if you're doing a bench press, he kept pushing until he couldn't push no more, until somebody has to lift the weight off of him. It's such a valuable experience in our daily lives because we avoid failure. Failure is the worst thing that can happen to some people. Failure will send people out into the streets as homeless drug addicts. Failure will send people into their garage to hang themselves. I have a buddy of mine who just hung himself last year because he felt like a loser. And there's no way you could talk him out of it. You can't empower him. I couldn't just dump motivation into him and say, you can do it, you're a good guy. He just felt like a loser. And he gave up. And he hung himself. Failure can be such a killer for people. They avoid it at all costs. Where you ask people, what's the worst thing you can think of? To fail at my marriage, to fail in business, to fail with raising my kids, to fail at, doing what I want to do, reaching my goals. When you work out and do Arnold Schwarzenegger's program of reps to failure, it's such a great lesson because you realize that failure is what you're going for in that scenario. You're working out to failure. You keep going until you can't do it anymore, and you experience this. I work out 6 days a week, and I've been trying this reps to failure thing, and it's been really giving me good development. I feel like I'm moving forward. You get what's called a progressive overload, but it's taught me such a valuable lesson because I have always feared failure. I felt like such an utter failure in my life. I could just sit and, cry about my past and say, oh gosh, everything I've ever done, relationships, business, this, that, the other, it's all been failures. I'm a fucking failure of a person. But it's really not true. Now that I am experiencing failure 6 days a week off of every set, because I'll do every set to failure, I experience a sense of, I can't do this anymore. Can someone help me? I'm at the end of it. Even though it's not your life, I don't have a knife to my throat. I'm not about to hang myself in my garage like my buddy because I feel depressed, but it's still a sensation of, I can't. And a good trainer can motivate you and be like, come on, do another couple, and you can get maybe 2 or 3 more reps out. But at some point, your body gives up and you're done. You can't anymore. You're just done. And the weight's going to fall back and you need someone to help you pull it off, and you have just experienced what it's like to go to failure, to where you can't do it anymore. That's all you can do. There's no more. There's no more in you. And what do you do with that scenario? You rest. You rest and build your strength. And then you get at it again. And you go to failure again. And I'm doing this at the gym. Say I'm there for an hour. I'm doing this over and over and over. Repeated failure over and over and over again. Teaching myself that failure is okay. Failure is growth. Failure is a lesson. Failure shows how strong you are, how hard you pushed, how far you went. The person that only does 8 reps, 10 reps, and then walks away from the bench and says, well, that's what was required. There's apps that you can do. Some of them are good, some of them aren't. There's trainers at the gym, and many of them will say, well, do 4 sets of 10 reps, or 4 sets of 12 reps, and everybody has their own little recipe. And you do that, and you're on your 9th, you're on your 10th, and you're like, okay, I'm working out. You can experience a small bit of growth that way, but according to Arnold, you need that progressive overload. You need to push your body to its limit every time. And that type of no pain, no gain mentality is how you get growth. And you don't just give up when you experience your first set of failure. When you go 1 set and you've worked out to failure on that bench and the guy, your partner, has to lift it off you because you're done, you can't do anymore. That doesn't mean you get up angry, walk away, go hang yourself in the garage, storm out of the gym. Fuck this shit. Because that's what people do in their lives when they experience failure. They go and cry. They just feel like, oh God, I tried. And, I used to see this in the streets when I was homeless. And you always ask people, well, what are you here for, man? Just like in jail. You're sitting there on the bench with somebody in the drunk tank and you're always like, so what are you in for? Same with being homeless. And every single time, it was a story of somebody who reached their point of failure and then just simply gave up. Walked off angry, left their house, went out into the streets, or whatever their scenario was, and made the choice that I'm done, and I'm not going to try anymore. See, look, I tried, and I didn't accomplish what I wanted. I did it, and I'm no bigger than I was yesterday, so I'm done. Fuck this shit. Nobody works out that way. It's discipline. Over time, you become stronger. Others will notice your progress more than you. Others will be your mirror. This is with it, the way it is with working out. I look at myself through the same eyes that I've always had. I used to be 135 pounds. I'm 6'2". So my arms were basically the size of my wrists. My legs were basically the size of my ankles. I was a skinny, frail little skeleton. Now I'm 200 pounds. And solid muscle with no fat, well, little fat. And that comes through just discipline, through doing it. I still look at myself as that skinny person in the mirror. When I see myself in the mirror, a lot of times, I don't even like to look at myself in the mirror, and I'll just be like, But other people will say, wow, this transformation is amazing. Like from a caterpillar to a butterfly, you've turned into a different creature. I'm a different person. Experiencing failure in the gym on such a repeated basis with exercise has really taught me to harden my mentality with failure in life and to look at failure in a different way. So now if I look back on my past, and I used to have such a big grab bag of failures, giant swimming pool full, each one with a little piece of paper with a failure on it. And I had that pool filled. This was my mentality of how I looked at my life. And now I realize those are all experiences of me trying hard. And many of them, you have to be humble with yourself. Many of them are experiences of where I gave up too soon. It's good to realize this. It's not necessary to go back and to try to fix each one. Maybe some of them, if they're important to you, you can look on your past failures and say, well, geez, I have a little more strength now, and maybe I can go back and fight that battle. That's fine. But I don't like to go backwards in life. I move forwards. And I learn my lessons from the past and use that knowledge towards the future. So now I can realize that failure is nothing to be scared of. In the gym, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to failure. I'm pushing as hard as I can till I can't push no more. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. And then when I experience that, when my workout buddy or the trainer, or sometimes instead of working out with a bar, I'll work out with the dumbbells where it's easier. You don't have to have a trainer. And say on the bench press, you can just drop them. And I drop those weights and they clump down on the ground, and I'm just like, literally nothing left in me. I can barely even lift myself off the bench. I rest and I gather my strength. I gather my wits. That moment, at your weakest moment, when you're at your weakest, is the perfect time to give yourself positive affirmations, to motivate yourself. Don't be looking for other people to tell you, you can do it, you can do it. I don't need trainers anymore. In the beginning, I needed them. Now I don't. Because now I can tell myself, I have value. I'm worthy of love. I can accomplish anything. These types of empowering affirmations at your weakest, when you're feeling your lowest, after you just tried your hardest, is when it sinks in the most and it becomes a new narrative. And instead of saying, I can't do this all the time, which people tell themselves, they feel like they just can't do anything. And those failures add up and you just walk around with this weight on your shoulder like Atlas holding the earth. And you just feel like, well, I have such a burden. I've failed at everything. Everything is so hard for me. You realize I've just been trying hard, but possibly been giving up too quick. I've given up so quickly on relationships, on business, on all kinds of things. And I don't beat myself up with that. I realize that I had more in me. There was more strength in me. So then when I go to my next venture, I realize when I get to a point of failure, where I think I can't go any further, I think this is it, I learn to rest, gather my wits, give myself a few positive affirmations, get some calories in me, go get a drink of water, whatever you need to do. Go out of the room and get different fresh air in a different room, that kind of thing. And then you get back at it and attack it again. Life is like the gym. This is why I love to promote working out. I promote a mind, body, and soul lifestyle. Working out has taught me so much about life. So it's just something to mull around of how easy that you give up. Are you giving yourself a chance to rest? Are you going back at it? Or are you like I used to be, where things would get a little bit hard in life and you just walk away? Fuck it. I tried. I went and applied for that job. I didn't get it, so fuck it. I'll become a criminal. I tried to love and I couldn't, so fuck it. I'll just become isolated and angry. Sometimes you don't make these conscious choices, but the weakness inside of you will drive you that way. Because it's always looking for the easy road. The inner warrior, I try to promote a program of being a warrior. The inner warrior will rest, sharpen his blade while he's resting. Think about his next moves. Think about why they gave up so easily and what they could have done differently. And being humble is important with that process. And then get at it again and fight that battle again. It's all just food for thought. Have a great day.